Now, we've been talking about the importance of relationships and networking, absolutely critical. People give money to people whom they know. Notice I didn't say people give money to projects or to programs. They give money to people. People whom they know, whom they trust, and people who have come in and established such an excellent working relationship, people who have developed such a sense of goodwill and eventually have left the program officer. The program officer is the representative of the grant maker that you deal with. You've left the program officer so excited about the project, their fingertips are itching to get a hold of your proposal. Never underestimate the importance then of a site visit. Suppose that you're going to do a documentary, for example, about tin chimneys. This was Alfred Lunt and Lynn Fontaine, right, down at Genesee Depot. If you say to your potential funder, when would be a convenient time for us to meet at Tin Chimneys? I just want to walk around. I want to get you excited about the place. If you manage that well, when you have a site visit and get the funder on turf that you control, where you can control the experience that the funder has there, that you can take to the bank. Consider a site visit not just visiting at the office of the grant maker. We talked earlier today about the fact that there are several levels of grants that folks like yourselves may want to enter the grant-seeking foray at this different levels. One is simply consultation with resource persons. You can get grant funding just to go and talk to the right people. Second is a planning grant, and there are so many advantages to asking for a planning grant. Number one, it gets your toe in the water at a low-stakes dollar value. Suppose that you have in mind a $500,000 project, but for $50,000 you could advance the planning effort very significantly. Doesn't it make sense from the viewpoint of a grant maker that they would give you $50,000 and together you would partner in this venture? And you would do thorough planning and come back to them with a deliverable on paper. Now what happens? If they like the planning work, you already have the skids greased for an implementation grant. When you do planning, the stakes are low, but the opportunity is almost assured. They want you to come back after the planning grant and the work has been done successfully and ask for implementation funds. If you go someplace else, or if you don't proceed with the project, they're going to come and knock on your door and ask, what happened? How come you didn't come back to us? We followed you through this planning process. We're so excited about the potential for this project. Aren't you going to ask us for more money? The answer is, sure. How soon? When's the next meeting of the board of directors? When do your trustees get together? Planning grants have terrific advantages. Next is a scripting grant, and then full-scale production grants. An example of this is found in the recent posting by the National Endowment for the Humanities, the one that Roel mentioned just a few moments ago, and the one that I mentioned that I have printed out. So take advantage of the opportunity to take a look at that. We've been talking partnerships, haven't we? We've been talking networking. Funders look for consortium applications. They want to know that you have gotten together with folks to create a partnership and come forward to them as one consortium. Lots of reasons from your viewpoint to form a partnership. You probably would be the first to admit that there are certain areas in your preparation, in your equipment complement, in the skill sets that the people whom you can reach out and bring into your own enterprise, they're lacking a few things. Nobody has it all these days. So when you form partnerships, you can deliberately bring in strategic partners who fill in gaps that you have perceived in your own portfolio. From the funder's viewpoint, when they make a grant to an organization that consists of a partnership, they have funded several people at one time. So they get much more bang for the buck by funding partnerships than they do solo operators. Why didn't I get funded? The answer is you didn't do the research. Writing the grant application is almost an afterthought. and you never have to go to Kinko's. Skip 499 out of those 500 copies. Write it once, write it right, and take it to the right place. In fact, if your research is good, you will find you have made 4 right turns. You've taken the right project to the right funder at the right time and asked for the right amount of money. 4 right turns. And it's your research that determines who's the right funder, what's the right amount of money, what's the right project for their giving history, their eligibility, their priorities, their matching fund requirements, and what's the right time based on the next meeting of the grants committee, the next meeting of the board of trustees, the next deadline.